Most men don't fail in dating because they're unattractive, or broke, or not confident enough. They fail because they've been carefully trained by so-called dating experts to follow advice that sounds logical, but quietly destroys attraction in real life. And the worst part, it doesn't fail loudly. It fails slowly. A woman loses interest and you can't even point to one mistake. You just feel her pulling away while you're doing everything right. What if the biggest things you've been told about attraction are actually the very things killing it? And what if fixing your love life starts by unlearning everything you thought was true? In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the most common lies men are taught about dating, especially by mainstream dating advice, social media coaches, and pickup culture. Not opinions, not motivation, psychological patterns, behavioral science, real human attraction dynamics. You'll start to see why some men who do everything right still get ignored, while others who seem effortless get chosen. And more importantly, you'll learn what actually works instead. Because once you understand the psychology underneath attraction, not the surface level tricks, you stop chasing validation and start becoming someone people naturally respond to. Let's get into it. A lot of men are told, text back fast, always be available, show her you care. So he does exactly that. He replies instantly. He never says no, he clears his schedule. He makes her the center of his attention early on. At first, it seems to work. She responds, she engages, but then something shifts. Her energy drops, her replies get shorter, she starts taking longer to respond, and he's confused because he didn't do anything wrong. Here's the psychology. Attraction isn't built on access, it's built on perceived value and emotional space. When someone is too available too early, the brain registers low priority, not consciously, but emotionally. In attachment psychology, especially avoidant-leaning attraction patterns, too much availability creates pressure instead of desire. Practical fix? Pace your attention, not in a manipulative way, but in a grounded way. Respond when you're actually free. Keep your own life active. Let space exist between interactions. Because desire doesn't grow in constant presence, it grows in anticipation. And that leads into something even deeper. A man meets a woman he likes and suddenly turns into a performer. He's thinking about his voice, his jokes, his game. He's trying to optimize every sentence, but the more he performs, the less natural he feels, and she senses it immediately. Because attraction isn't triggered by polished performance, it's triggered by congruence. In psychology, congruence means your internal state matches your external expression. When you're calm inside, you don't need to impress outside. Real confidence isn't what you say, it's what you don't need to prove. A grounded man can pause mid-conversation without panic. He can disagree without fear. He can be quiet without trying to fill space. That creates psychological safety, and safety is what allows attraction to grow. So instead of asking, what should I say? Ask, am I being myself right now, or am I trying to win approval? Because approval-seeking energy is louder than words. This one damages men more than anything else because it creates a mindset of competition instead of expression. So a man thinks, if I'm not rich enough or good-looking enough, I don't stand a chance. But then you see real life, average men with strong relationships, wealthy men struggling in dating. It doesn't add up until you understand emotional selection. Humans don't choose partners purely based on traits. They choose based on emotional experience in your presence. Psychology calls this affective forecasting, how someone predicts how they will feel with you long term. Money and looks might open the door, but emotional impact decides whether she stays in the room. Does she feel relaxed with you, seen with you, emotionally stimulated, or emotionally safe? That's the real filter. So the shift is simple but powerful. Stop trying to become impressive. Start becoming emotionally grounded and real. Because attraction isn't just about what you have, it's about how you make someone feel about themselves when they're with you. This is where a lot of men sabotage good connections. They meet a woman, she's responsive, she laughs, she engages, and they think, This is my chance. I need to move faster. So they push intimacy, push texting, push physical escalation, push commitment energy too early, and then she pulls back, not because she wasn't interested, but because the rhythm was off. Human attraction follows pacing psychology. Think of it like music. If everything is loud all the time, nothing feels impactful. Healthy attraction requires expansion and contraction, closeness, then space, connection, then individuality. When a man rushes escalation, he removes the emotional breathing room needed for desire to build. The practical adjustment, let momentum breathe. If things are going well, you don't need to force them forward, you need to let them deepen naturally, because attraction that's forced forward often collapses under its own speed, and that leads directly into a bigger misunderstanding. Here's a question most men never stop to ask. If all the dating advice works so well, why are more men than ever reporting loneliness, confusion, and inconsistent relationships? Maybe the problem isn't effort. Maybe it's direction, because you can follow every rule perfectly and still end up emotionally disconnected. That's the part nobody wants to admit. Now let's go deeper. This one comes from pickup culture and social media advice. Don't be too available, don't explain yourself, stay mysterious. So a man builds a persona, he withholds information, he plays distant, he tries to be unreadable, and yes, at first it creates curiosity, but over time it creates something else, confusion. And confusion does not equal attraction, it equals emotional fatigue. Psychologically, humans need a balance of novelty and predictability to feel safe attraction. Too predictable, more boring. Too unpredictable, more unsafe. Healthy attraction lives in the middle. Mystery is not about hiding yourself. It's about revealing yourself gradually, in layers, with consistency in character. The most attractive men are not confusing. They are readable in values, but layered in personality. So instead of trying to be mysterious, I try being clear but not fully exposed. Grounded but not over-explained. That's where real intrigue lives. At the center of all of this is a truth most men never get told. Attraction isn't something you perform into existence. It's something that emerges when you stop abandoning yourself to earn it. Think about it. Every lie we've talked about today has the same root problem. It teaches you to move away from yourself, to overextend, to perform, to chase approval, and slowly, you lose the very thing that makes you attractive in the first place, your grounded identity. Because real attraction isn't built when you become what someone wants. It's built when you become someone who doesn't disappear to be liked. The irony is, the more you try to secure love through strategy alone, the more unstable it becomes. But the moment you start acting from self-respect instead of fear of loss, something shifts. You become calmer, clearer, more selective, and ironically, more attractive. Not because you learned new tricks, but because you stopped betraying yourself to keep someone else interested. If this resonated with you, don't just brush it off as interesting advice. Pay attention to where you might still be following rules that don't actually align with how you want to show up in relationships, because awareness without application changes nothing. And here's something I'm curious about. Which of these dating rules have you personally followed the most? And what did it cost you? Share it in the comments. Real experiences matter here. And if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. You don't need to become someone else to be chosen. You need to stop abandoning yourself in the process of trying. Because the right connection doesn't reward performance, it responds to presence. And once you understand that, you stop chasing love and start building the kind of life where it can actually find you.